welcome to another amazing day at fmtraining.tv. My name is Margaret Carlton. I'll be your broadcast engineer for today. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good to have you here. We are here with the wonderful and fantastic Nick Hunter, who is the premier UI UX designer for FileMaker and frankly knows all sorts of tons of tricks about a huge variety of topics. So we are very lucky to have him here with us today. Let's pull up the live stream training schedule. Okay, so for Wednesday and Thursday, we're continuing our UI UX for advanced developers. I believe this is our last chunk of it for now. And Nick is going to finish discussing his sort function stuff. Friday, we will have the open Claris platform FileMaker Q&A, which will be interesting. Monday, there's going to be an SEO discussion, which won't be necessarily directly FileMaker related, but search engine optimization is always good for getting customers, which is important. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday will be about FileMaker calendars without SQL relationships. It'll be another Nick mini series where Nick will discuss calendars really thoroughly and how he gets them to do cool and unique things, which will be really quite fun. Nick, what are we doing today?
Okay, thank you, Margaret, and thank you everybody for joining today to this session of the sort, a new sort feature we implement in FileMaker. So yesterday I introduced the technique. So I show you the technique, how we use it, and I show you the buttons, how we can get a button that works very easily by changing the name of the title of the button, and then you get the field. So, and today we're going to talk about two things. First, we are going to talk about performance, and then we are going to talk about implementing that feature into a portal. Okay, because I said at the beginning that this feature is working on both local, the local table, and also on related records, right? So on a portal. And it works without doing any rework, right? It just works. Just you put the buttons and then, okay. So I'm going to show you that, right? But before, many times you heard me talking about the numbers. The number is key, okay? So the number is telling you what you can use and what you cannot use, okay? So what I'm talking about this, what I want to tell you about this is that everything that when you get a certain volume, a certain size, a certain number of records, there's things you cannot do, okay? Or you have to accept some downsides, okay? So that being said, when you get when you have a file and you have two users, okay, you can do things that you cannot do when you have 100 users, right? When you have, let's say, 2,000 records, we can do this, we can do things, but when you have 25, 100,000, 1 million, you cannot do that, right? So the number is driving your final decision on which technique to apply, okay? Here, this technique here, it's valid for a certain volume of records, okay? We don't typically have thousands and thousands of records, right? So, for example, if you have a client list, if you have a product list, for example, or project, let's say a project list, maybe you will have 500 records or 1,000 records. So if you have 1,000 projects, you are a big, giant multinational company, right? When you have, let's say, 5,000 contacts, right? So, or 10,000 contacts. So it's a different volume, right? When you stay in a certain, let's say, amount of records, that technique that I'm explaining to you is valid. If you pass this, right, you will have a little downgrade on performance. Okay, it's normal. I'm going to explain why. Okay, so let me share my screen. I'm going to explain. So here I imported our 25,000 records, right? So I have 25,000 records. So here what happens when you have, let's say, 2,000 records, right? So I'm going to apply the technique, this sorting technique on 20,000 records. So let's say, first I want to unsort everything. So I'm unsorted. So you see, it's instant with 2,000 records. And by the way, I am in the other side of, I'm in another hemisphere, right? And my server is not the best server in the world, right? It's a test server, it's a development server, so I don't have a performance here. But still, it's working very well. So if I want to sort by name, I sort by name, and this is the speed I have, right? Which is practically instant, right? So if I want to start to sort by status, for example, right? So it's instant as well. If I want to sort by status and name, right? So I have two keys here. It's also very fast, right? So we have a little bit, right? Because we have 2,000 records, right? So when you have 2,000 records and you have a server, this technique works well, okay? If you pass this threshold, okay? So let's say I want to apply this on, let's say, 5,000 records, right? So I'm going here. So I'm showing you how to ignore, you do 501, and then you go omit, and you say you don't know how much, you don't care. You said you have 17,080, okay, to ignore. So I'm going to omit. So now I have 5,000 records, right? So I have 5,000 records, right? And I'm going to apply this on 5,000 records. So this is what you have. So you have a little bit of, it's slowed down a little bit, right? So because we are sorting on one field with two keys, and that's slowed down a little bit, okay? So that I want to tell you that if you have millions of records, anyway, you cannot apply this. But to be honest with you, you don't typically have millions of records on the contact list, because it's, if you have, you need to use another technique of sorting, right? Because you pass the threshold. But when you have 2,000, 1,000, 1,500, I typically never saw people with more than 1,500. I'm talking about like a school with students, or a company with employees or contacts, or we typically stay in a certain amount of records, right? So 2,000, 2,500 records, that will work very well, So that being said, it's because we are sorting on non-store calc, right? So so when we do this, for example, here I have this table here. So here I'm sorting, right? I said I want to sort by name and status, right? So here that's my global field, okay? And I say status and name, it was status and name first. So I have the status and the name for each records, I have the status and the name, right? For each records. So we have here a calculation here that is doing that for me, right? And return text here, right? So this calculation here is going to give me the result. So if I go there, so let me hide this. If I go there and I change this, see, it's very, very fast. This is fast, The moving of data, you can see here, this field here, when I see, if I want the category, I get the category on my 5,000 records very quickly, right? So this is not what slowed down, right? Status, name, accounts, category. So here, yeah, I have all of those things here, right? So this is pretty fast. We got a little bit of sluggishness, right? When we when we sort on that field, and we have to sort on 3 different fields. So we sort on 3 fields, right? So that's why we get a little bit of sluggishness, right? But always when you have what's the name? When you sort records, right? You use a technique that applies, right, to the condition, right? So you cannot what's the name? You cannot you cannot use that technique on 5 million records, right? But anyway, typically is when you have a font set, or when you have like 5,000 records or 4,000 records and stuff like that, you can really apply this, right? So yesterday we had a question, and that I wanted to repeat today, right? So what was the question yesterday? I don't remember.
Give me a second. I have to scroll back up.
Yeah. It
Give me
was,
a moment.
yes,
Scrolling.
because I don't have the Discord in front of me.
No, you're
I
good.
read it this morning and I forgot it.
Won't this sort by all the text first, rather than the order you click the buttons? Same question for the calculation fields. They are on each record, correct?
Yes, so that's what I want to explain. Okay, let me explain what's going on here. This calculation here, I'm using a function, So this is what I want to do. Unstored calculation are very slow when you start using related records, and when you start using kind of a formula, calculation that is calling another calc for another field, for example, right? So let's say you have multiple calcs and you want to refer to another field with, so this gets very slow. But unstored calculation, you saw that the calculation is very fast, it's instant, right? It doesn't slow down anything, right? Because here I'm using a while function. So something I want to tell you, when you use a function, when you use this, right? Any type of function you have here, right? When you use this, the while or whatever, you are pretty much at the core level of FileMaker. That means pretty much you are like developing, programming FileMaker itself. This goes down to the ground level, to the core of the application, the core of Draco. Here you're talking to Draco. Here you are the first level, right? So you are directly using Draco, using FileMaker directly, right? So when you use a function, the function itself will be like fast as hell because you are down to the core, right? So here what I'm doing, first of all, I'm referring to a global field. So I'm referring to global. So there's no issues here, right? There's no issues because the global is the info is unique and is there, right? Is very fast to obtain the data on this, right? So this won't slow down everything. And then I'm using another function, which is a get field, So when you get the fields, so what is this get field thinking, right? How that works? Get fields will return the content of a field by its name, right? So let's say here, right? So let's say I'm doing this. I'm doing a let statement, right? And I'm saying, okay, that's the field name. So I want this, right? That's what I want. Field name equal, and I'm typing, for example, let's say I want the status, okay? status. So that will be my field name, right? So let's see how this will, this the field name I want to return, right? So how this will work? So, or I am in the first record, right? So I'm putting here the field name, and this function will return whatever in that field by its name. So yeah, if I'm changing like this and I'm saying, I don't know, primary, I don't know what we can do. Primary city, for example. So I want that field, right? I want that field name here. So that the primary city, right? If I want this primary street, I get the primary street, right? So here, it's the field name, right? So this function will just return, right, the content of a field, but the field is a local. It's not a related field, right? It's a local field. So it will be instant, right? So the while function here, so I'm using that to say, okay, I want the content of that field based on its name, right? So the correct manner to do that, right, is to say, get the field name, get the field by the name. So the name is there, right? The field name. So I will have the field name. Field name is here, right? So I have all the field name in that field, all the name of the field that I need. And here, the while function, I'm using the while function to get the possibility to say, okay, I want multiple field names, not only one. So I want I have, let's say like here in this example, yeah. So I have two fields here. I have two fields here, okay. And here is where I'm going to put the name of the field, and here the content, the content of the field, right? So if I say here, I want the name, right? I have the name, right? So let's do this. No, see, my server is not a really fast server. So, and I'm far away. So I have a name, and I want the status, and I want the category. So I'm typing the name of the field here, and go, and boom, bam, and that I get that on 5,000 records. So let's say I want all my records. I want all my records. So sure, right? So I'm doing that on here, right? I'm going to do that on the 25,000 records, right? So let's blank this. I want the status first, the category, and I want their name, right? Boom. It's instant on 25,000 records, right? So you can use unstore calculation really freely, right? And what you just need is to use the get field or any function, right? So because here, in this calculation here, I'm doing a lot of things, but they are all based on function. I don't know if you notice this, right? Here I'm counting the number of value using a function, right? And here, I expect to have like a 5, 6, 10, not more, right? So this will be fast. Then I'm doing a very when you take this out, when the while starts and you take this out, you take it once. It's in the memory. It's like setting variable pretty much, right? So you put that in memory. So this is available at all time, and this is available at all time. Okay. Then this also, right? It's something that will be always available. Okay. So it's in memory. Then a counter is very simple. I'm taking that variable here. That statement. I'm taking this, and I'm saying, okay, each time you count, each time you turn, each time you do it, you add 1. Then I have a get value, right? So also get value is a function. Getting the value of a list that is available in memory based on the counter number, which is also in the memory, right? And then based on this, I'm taking the field contents based on this, right? Which value I have, which name I'm in. Then I'm evaluating the field type, right? When I get the name, right? I demonstrated that yesterday. FileMaker has the possibility to return, right? To get the field type, like number, dates, text, timestamp, time, container. It will return the field type when you use that function, right? Then I'm using another function, right, to strip out one word out of this, because this will return 3 words. I need 1, the second word. So I'm stripping out from that statement here, I'm stripping out the second word, right? When I have the second word, I'm using it in the if. And I say, okay, if the type is text, then I want the results. Otherwise, keep the result. I want the results and add whatever the field name returns and add a character return. If this is not valid, leave it alone. Don't do anything. That means keep the result as it was before, right? Like it was before I start this, right? I don't, because yesterday I showed you that we have a field for date, for number, and for text, right? So this is why it's fast. It's fast because I not everything I do here, right? Everything I do here, I do it. It's there, right? It's available to me, right? The get field, what it's doing is taking the content of one field, status, category, and name, and put it down as a result of a calculation. So it's just moving something, data that are there into another field. That's all what it's doing, right? And it's very fast. It's much faster. Oh, by the way, you know that this get field function that I'm just showing you, it's maybe 2 million times faster than a set field. When you go to the script, you need to understand something here. It's a good educational case. When you use set fields, you think you're fast. You're not. This is slow. What's fast, what's really fast, is to get field by field name. So it's better to say, instead of using set field, it's better to have an auto-entry calculation on that field and say, get field based on the field name that you can have on the variable. For example, let's have fun a little bit. Test, get field test. Okay. So I have this, and here, right? I said get field, right? On get field name, and the field name is a variable, right? So I'm copying this. I'll remove this. So no, sorry. It's a calculation. Sorry, calculation. Right? and it's an unstored calculation, and it's a text. Okay. So I have a new unstored calculation with a get field based. Okay. No, sorry. Okay. Get field name. This get field. I'm going to come back to this get field name stuff. Okay. So now, if I'm putting that, in the layout, so let's say I'm putting this like this, and I'm putting here my test. Okay. Okay. Why is my test? How? Oh, it's get field test, right? Yeah. Oh, something I can show you. We don't have, in the managed database, we don't have any search function here. But here on this layout, when you click on fields, here you can select the table. But if you click here, you can now search with the field name that we don't have in the managed database. A little trick, it's, I know everybody doesn't know that. So now I have my field here, right? That returns a question mark because I don't have a valid here. But if I do something like this, right? And I'm setting the variable here. I'm setting a variable. I'm saying the variable, the field I want the status, for example. Okay. I'm evaluating this, right? So now I will have the status here normally. Oops, why it's not working? Current field name inactive. Oh, yeah, sorry. The current field name is this. Okay, sorry. It need to be the name of the field. Right? So I need to change to reevaluate this. Monitor. Yeah. So it's not showing the field. Okay, yeah, because I need to. Oh, yeah. That I hate when I do things like this because I didn't prepare this, but it's get field name, current field name. So I should have worked. Because I have the status here, I have the current field name. Yeah. I don't know why it's not doing it. Anyway, yeah, we can do that with our, but I don't know why this is doesn't work. Okay, anyway, get field name. Normally, if I put this, if you get the field name, I don't know why it's not working, but it's okay. If you do this and you put the status, okay, like this, okay, it should work. No, it doesn't work. Okay, never mind. So anyway, the get field name with the field, I don't know why it doesn't work. It's something I'm missing, and get field name status. Okay, why is it not working? I don't know. I have no idea. Get fields. Yeah, so maybe I don't need that. Yeah, I think I don't need the get field name. I don't know. Normally it should work. So do we have any questions for us so far? I'm sorry for that. I didn't prepare that. So it's always when you don't prepare that, when you do something without. Yeah, that works. So we don't need a get field name. So I can get this. So and put back the current this, and it will work. So you have a function, you have a variable, right? And you get the field name based on the variable, right?
The while you use doesn't work inside data viewer? Question mark.
Yes, of course it does. So I'm going to show you. So let me finish this. For example, here I set status, but I want category, for example. So I change the variable. I'm going to answer the question. So I'm changing the variable, and bam, it changed. So just changing the variable. So you can change the name, you can change the contents of a field based on the variable, for example, or based on the global field, okay? Like I do here. Here I'm basing on global field, but here, right, you can do on the variable, right? So you said you want the billing, you want the primary city, right? So you said this, you evaluate, and then you have the primary city now. Okay, that's the primary city, right? If you go to address, the city is this, right? So you can do this, right? So another thing, you can set a variable using let like this, right? So you can do this, something like this, and you can even blank a variable. Sometimes, you want to blank a variable, that's the best way to do that. You blank it, right? So using the let statement, you blank it. Now, boom, right? It's blank, right? So sometimes you want to create on the fly, you want to update a variable, you use that technique. Use a let statement. You say let's, right? You say let's, and you say the name of the variable, right? So you name the variable, the global variable. You put whatever you want on the variable. Calculation, you put double quotes. We don't need the calculation. Just we want to use the let to reset a variable, and you evaluate, right? When you do this, you evaluate. If I do this, I evaluate now in my here I have 111, right? If I want to blank it, you do this blank, evaluate, and now you will see that the current is gone, right? So yeah, of course it works on the data viewer. Let me show you. When you go there and you say sorts here, so not this one, but here, and I'm going to show you how to debug all of this, right? So when you have when you have it here and you have a while, the while works, but here we need to give the, okay. So yeah, on the variable, you need to give the context. On the data viewer, you need to put the context where you are, right, in the calculation. Okay. Of course it works. It will work on the current record. So on the current record you are, it will do this because I am on the record of Kirk Vaughan, okay? So you return Kirk Vaughan because I'm on Kirk Vaughan. But if I want to try on this one, right? So now it changed, right? It's Serrano Bevis, right? So you can comment this and you can do things like this, right? So you can test your thing. Let me show you. That's interesting. You comment the results. Everything that is here is available. Everything that is here is available. I can take this and put there, and I have the field names. I can take this, and I have these results. I can take this, the counter, and I will have the counter. The final counter, the end of the calculation. At the end, I have three because I have three values. I have two values, but I said plus one. You understand? So this will be 2 plus 1 equals 3. The value here, if I copy and paste, it returns the value. So I want name. Here, the field names, this is what the field type return. But that's the type I want. I want only the second word here. I want text, right? And then I have the result, right? So that's the result here. Right? So this is how you debug a while function. You need to put on the table everything you need, right? Everything you need, and that's why I love to present that way. To put block. Those two are together. Those two are together. You know what I mean? They are this and this, they're working together. Then I have this and this, they're working together. And then I have the results. And when I have the results, I put the result here, right? I prefer to do that way instead of putting here this, which will be the same, right? So, so that was while. So do we have another question? Because I want to switch to another topic here.
I don't see any at the moment, so I think you're good.
Okay. So, you understand that, okay, we have a lot of benefits of this feature. First of all, it looks great, you know. You can change the order of what you want. Okay, so on 25,000 records, this is what I get, right? On 25,000 records. It's not the end of the world, right? It's not the end of the world, but if I use directly sort, like sort the field is instant, right? So that's what I'm saying. All the technique you use, the numbers, right? The number is great. But now I'm going to show you where this will be very great, right? So it's slow, it's sluggish, right? If I do the same, so what I wanted category and status. So if I do sort and I say categories, category and status on 25,000 records, boom, right? So yeah, but as I said, you can use the technique until 3,000 records, which is a huge amount of records. Okay, who has 25,000 records on the contact list, or on the account list, or on the invoice list, right? Nobody has this. Okay, now if you have a catalog of items, for example, don't use that technique, you know, or use another one, right? That's other technique you can use, but that one is not good. So we have all the technique that I can show you in another time when you have a lot of records, right? So and you can do the sort on server, right? And that's fast, right? That's very fast. So so now you see this button here, right? And you apply the sort, right? Okay. What about if I'm using it on a portal? What about this? Right? Oh, each time I click on this button here. See, bad design. It's a bad design. It's a really bad design. Why? Because this is way too close, right? So that's a bad design. That's my bad. So I'm going to select this, and boom, 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 boom. Okay, this now is better. So contact. Okay. So I'm sorting by name and status, or I want to sort by status and name. Right? See, active, inactive, or here I want to sort by category. Category is here, right? Here, hot prospects, you know, those are category, right? I only have hot prospect. So let's change one. Let's change them to semi-cold, and so I have one semi-cold and another one semi-cold. I have two semi-cold now. So now I'm free. Okay. So if I want to change by category, right? So I have hot prospect and semi-cold, right? The free. So, right? And then I can sort by name. So it's doing the same work as sorting directly on the table, right? But on the portal without doing anything. So what do you do? What's the difference between this and this, right? The difference is none. This is the same. I'm doing the same. I'm setting this field here. I'm setting the, sorry, I need to go to content. I'm doing the same thing here. Right? I'm setting the fields. I'm setting this field, the global, that returns their, what's the name? That will return their the unstored calculation, right? But something I want to show you here. What happened when I am in another table, accounts, and I'm changing this field here, which is a global. So I'm doing this, see? I'm in contact, I'm in accounts, and this is the contact table. I'm changing a global from here. So I change the global, and I have the unstored calculation that does the job for me. So that field now is available to me. It's available in the portal. So pretty much here in this portal, I'm saying sort by date, number, and their or number, date, and whatever. Number, date, text. Okay. That's the portal sort. Right? And in that here, I just say the apply button, it just sorts, the apply button sorts by this. So I'm doing the same thing, right? I'm sorting, my apply button launch a script that sorts the records with a script step. And here, I have nothing to do. Absolutely nothing to do. Just I need to say sort here, right? And the button works. So what this does, okay, this. You will see status. I'm executing this, you know. I'm setting the field I need to set, right? And I refresh the portal, pretty much. That's what I do, right? So you refresh the portal because, you know, I don't even know if we need to refresh the portal. Let's see, without refresh portal. This we don't, yeah, we need. This we don't need. So if I don't refresh the portal, what happens? I think I need. Yeah, definitely need. So here's the trick, okay? Because when I build this, I did a mistake. I did this morning. Here you change this, right? But nothing happened here. You don't see anything happening. You need to put the refresh portal in that button when you apply. So when you apply, you refresh, right? So click here. Click on the new button again. So you click here, you change your set and you apply, and it doesn't work. Why? Oh, yeah, execute. Why it doesn't refresh the portal? I don't know. Huh? I think visually would be better if I do this, but why? Close popover, refresh portal. Did he do the? Okay, let me do this. Apply, name. Yeah, it doesn't do the refresh portal name. Oh, stupid me. I don't refresh the name portal contacts, and here I put the name of the. Okay. So now, this is the better visual. You click here, right? Let's say we clear all. Okay, Bob. So you click on name, nothing happened. If you click outside, nothing happened. Okay, you click outside, nothing happened. When you click apply, you have the thing going. When you click here, apply, boom, right? So you put the refresh, everything is on the refresh, right? The refresh power will refresh it and with the new sort order, okay? So that better, that way better. Do we have any question?
I don't see any again, so I think you're good to go.
Okay. So of course it works also if you change this and you put that on the relationship itself. I prefer doing this, in my opinion, and I will explain why. So here I'm saying sort, number first, and text. Okay. So now I don't have a filter. I don't have a sort on the poll. Okay. So why is better? I'll show you why. So here I'm doing this. So I don't need to do any refresh when I do this, right? So refresh, you do it when you put the sort on the portal. That's why I want to show you this, okay? So pretty much in that situation, this button here is no longer apply, will be a close button, okay? Because because it's, you saw the difference, right? I mean, when you apply the filter on the portal, you need to refresh the portal. Sorry. And if you use the relationship, you don't need to refresh, right? Other advantage. I already show you this, but if I don't apply this on the relationship, so this here, let's say I have no sorting, okay, and I'm applying the sort keys to the portal itself, right? Portal, I'm applied to the portal, and I want to get the list, this T01C list of T01C. I want the full name. So it returns the same order like this one. So far, so good. Let's say I'm sorting the portal. Sort by name. The order changed, but this not. Still the same. It didn't change it because it applies like a facelift of it resort the portal, but it didn't resort the data, right? So whatever you change the order here, it won't affect anything. It won't affect anything. 31st, no, it won't change anything. Still Solomon, still the same. What happened if I put the filter, the sort, not on the portal, but on the relationship itself? One here, okay. I unsort, so I have here. Oh, again, I click the new one. No, hold on. Let me go back to the. Okay. Here I have this order, okay. Solomon, Eden, Octavius, okay. Now I'm sorting by name. Now see, the data changed. Again, Solomon, it follows, right? So if I do this, right, it follows. So why is it important? Let's say I have a relationship, right? I have a relationship like this, and I want to apply, I want to get values on this. Let's say I want the free first. I want the free first on this, based on this. So I'd said, right, left values on this, and I want the free first. So that will be my free first. But if I change the sort order, that's not the same free first as before, right? If I unsort, it changed, right? So if you want to do something like this, and and you apply the filter on the pole, you have no way to get the reality, like doing that technique here, right? Or for example, you want to get a value, you want to get a value, for example, you want the last one, for example, or you want the first one, right? Get value one, you want the first value, but the first value of that list won't be the same if you sort by name. That change, right? So that's the difference between sorting with the relationship and the what's the name, the polar. And what's good is that this technique of those freeze calculation give you that is pretty much the only way to get a custom sort order on the portal, right? And the advantage is that you have nothing to do between the data itself, between this and this will be the same. It's the same it's the same calculation, it's the same result, it's the same of everything, right? So I don't want to go further because tomorrow we do here we have something like this, right? So I can show you what we do tomorrow. Here we have this, right? We have this, the sub-summaries, right? We have the sub-summaries sorted by, right, category and status. So that means if I sort by status, right, I have this, right? Active. If I sort by status and categories, I have this. Okay? So tomorrow we're going to see how we sort and get those things on the fly, pretty much, right? So based on the field, so we can repurpose those things without having those static like this, because this is, so I see many people, what they do, they have path setup and they have one sub-summary sorted by this, and and one sub-summary sorted by this, and then one sub-summary sorted by, so they have 200, I think we have an example here. We have we must have a layout like that. I think it's the account list. No, or the which one is the invoice list? Maybe the invoice list. Yeah, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa, right. So it's a lot of sub-summary that you need to build, right? So tomorrow we are going to build things like this, but repurposable, not just static like this, right? So that tomorrow. So if you don't have any questions, we good to go.
We've got one. David Angel slid in with one.
Yeah.
One, do you, when you leave the layout, do you clean the globals?
No, because I have a global per table. So pretty much the way I construct my stuff here is for each layout, right? Each layout points to one table. And for each table, I have the global. So I have the sort list keys for that table, and I have the same for contacts, sort list key for that table, right? So we don't need to clean the global because you want to leave it where you were. For example, if you sort the accounts for account by account name, for example, right? And you go to contacts, even if you sort the contact differently, you don't care because there's one global per table. So you're good. And you don't want to clean up because otherwise you lose this. You lose the which one is active. So you don't want to you don't want to use one global for all of them. No. Each table with its global. So tomorrow we're going to see that, and we are going to see how we reverse order.
Does that not interfere with the global table?
No. So yeah. So you have global. Okay, you have global globals. So we have a global table here. Okay, where or you can do something like this. You can have the search key for contact, search key for account, search key for on one point, right? On one table. You can do that if you want. You can say sort key list, and you say contacts, right? And you duplicate, and this is accounts, and need to be global, of course. You use this, so you have one table with all those duplicate, invoices, and you use those key stuff in your calculation, right? So because we can global can be they are context free, right? You can go to one table to another to get the content of a global without any relationship. So you can do that if you want. I prefer because I love something like this. You in contact, for example, you go to the comments and you say, oh, I want to replicate my my sort stuff. I want to replicate my let's go to account, I think. Yeah, you want to replicate this so you need this, you copy, right? And this, right? So you need those. When you copy this, right, you create a new table, delete this, and you paste all the field that you have your sort feature ready. That's all what you need. So you paste this in your table, right? And then everything works, because it's context free, right? So it's it's nothing broken, because you copied exactly. So if you use that technique of going to the global, you might break something here, right? You understand? So it's better to get all group like this, and you put on the comment, you say, okay, that for the sort. So all of this for sort, right? That's all what you need for the sort. So if we don't have any question, we're good to go.
Last one, then we're done.
Yeah?
Then we are done. Have
No,
a
it's
global
okay.
sort field per layout.
Yes, one global sort field per layout.
Cool.
Then it's all grouped together. You don't have to think about putting something else, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't. I mean, it won't help anything to put that in another global, right? It's not. You put on the global table what is unique. For example, the logged in user first name, the logged in user last name, all those globals. You want a point. You don't want those. Don't make any sense to have this in every single table, or the value list ID, or whatever. Those things. The search field for them. I'm using the search field, the same search field for all of them, all the layouts. So that good. That you can keep that, right, in the global. But for this sort stuff, no. Or filters, right? A filter, a sort, no, doesn't. It's not. It won't help.
Okay. With that being said, I think we're good. Thank you very much, Nick. We greatly
Okay.
appreciate it as always.
Yes, and see you tomorrow for
Absolutely.
new stuff.
Yep. Last day of this. Shared desktop.
Okay, bye-bye.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir.